Hello, BookTube. I thought I'd do another fake short story video. It's another ballad, a song, very old story actually, a very strange story, and it's called "The Outlandish Night," and it's a child ballad, and it is a like a fairy story actually, really. Originally, or not originally, but it was collected by Francis James Child in his Child Ballads collection, and he calls it Lady Isabel and the Elf Knight. It's ballad number 4 in his collection, and but it's normally known as the Outlandish Night. It's a little bit of a curious story, and I'm going to do an English version of it. It's been collected all over the world, actually, not just the British Isles, not just America. So I'm reading a bit about it here. This ballad has many titles. Yeah, which I've just said. Lady Isabel and the Elf Knight, May Colvin, The Highway Robber, The Old Beau, are among titles preferred by singers. Yeah. So, Child, this is Francis James Child, who was an academic in the 19th century. He noted it as one of the most widespread of ballads, with relatives in Poland, Germany, Scandinavia, France, the Netherlands, and elsewhere, as far afield as Australia. But I mean, in Australia, it would be the British tradition. It's also among the most persistent, being not infrequently sung today. Some scholars see in it traces of the Bluebeard story. Others believe it may be an offshoot of the legend of Judith and Holofernes. Perhaps more plausible is the theory that the ballad is descended from a folk tale about a malevolent water spirit who transforms himself into a knight and marries a girl with the intention of carrying her off to his watery home. I'll read a little bit more about it later, and I'll sing you the song. It's not very long, and see what you make of it. I'm using there's lots and lots of versions of it. Singers like this song, so folk song collectors and so on, and yeah, people like Child got loads of versions of it, especially England, Scotland, and Ireland. There's American versions of it as well, which have migrated over there from the British Isles, of course. But this version is Ralph Vaughan Williams, the classical composer. He collected this in Norfolk. Yeah, so this is it. An outlandish knight from the Northlands came. He came a-wooing of me, and he told me he'd take me to that northern land, and there he would marry me. Go get you some of your father's gold, some of your mother's fee, and 2 of the finest horses from out of the stall, where there stand 33. She mounted on a milk-white horse, and he on the dapple grey. They rode till they come to the fair riverside, 3 hours before it was day. A light, my pretty fair maid, a light, said he. For 6 pretty maidens I've drowned here before, and the 7th one you will be. Take off your silken gown, deliver it unto me, for I fear it's too rich and much too gay to rot in the salt water sea. Go get a sickle and crop the thistle that grows around the brim, for I fear it'll tangle my fine yellow hair or scratch my delicate skin. He got a sickle to crop the thistle growing around the brim. She caught him around his middle so small and tumbled him into the stream. Lie there, you false-hearted man, lie there instead of me. For 6 pretty maidens have you drowned here, but the 7th one has drowned thee. She mounted on her lily white horse and led the dapple grey. She rode till she come to her father's hall, an hour before it was day. And the parrot, being up in the window so high, hearing the lady, he did say, I fear that some ruffian has led you astray. You tarry so long before day. Don't prattle, my pretty Polly, and tell no tales of me, and your cage will be made of the glittering gold, and your perch of the finest ivory. And the father being up in the window so high, hearing the parrot, he did say, what ails you, my pretty Polly? You prattle so long before day. Oh, there came an old cat on top of my cage to take my sweet life away. And I was just calling on my young mistress to drive old puss away. So that's the Outlandish night. And it is a bit strange with the parrot at the end, but it's nearly always in there. I think nearly every version has the parrot at the end. It's very peculiar in a way, but I love it. And my parrot wandered off and he's walked back across the floor, so he lost interest. But A.L. Lloyd, who was a sort of authority on this kind of thing, says something about that. It says, the genial incident of the dialogue with the parrot, and he puts in brackets, borrowed from Oriental tradition, was isolated and made into a comic stage song called Telltale Polly in around about 1860. So there we are. Um, there's quite a few of these old ballads with sinister knights in them. The False Knight on the Road is another one. They're kind of demonic figures, uh, sometimes called the Elf Knight or the False Knight. Uh, and it's a sinister story at the beginning, of course. The different versions of what happens. Sometimes the maiden, he asks her to take off her clothes so they won't be ruined, and she says, "Well, if you have to turn your back on it, you can't look at a naked woman, so turn your back." So he turns his back, and that's when she grabs him and throws him in. And sometimes he says, "Lend me your hand, pull me out, and then I'll make you my bride." And naturally, she's not so stupid, and he drowns. But there's all these, you always get that in the folk tradition, all these slight variations of it. Um, I'm doing it from memory as well, so my version is slightly different. But yeah, it's a folk story, and as it said in some of the introduction, it's common around Europe, Scandinavia, and various other countries, and the German folk tales and so on. It has that feel about it, like a Grimm's fairy tale. You could say it has a happy ending unless you're the knight, and the parrot gets a nice gilded cage and a perch of the finest ivory.